As I remember it, um, most times that I've spoken here in the past, I've tried to encourage you and remind you of the importance of dedicating oneself to regular sitting practice, zazen. As I understand it, our practice of zazen is the direct way to deeper understanding, connection, and liberation from delusion. Delusion as suffering, I guess you could say. And by suffering, what I'm trying to indicate right now is this desperate clinging to the belief that if I have everything that I want, and if I can keep away everything that I don't want, I'll be happy and fulfilled in my life. I've also mentioned in the past that when a person practices regularly, they may come to the insight that what we seek in our spiritual journey is not off in the distance, but here right now on the path, in this present moment, and in our daily lives, our ordinary daily lives, and it has always been so. It is my impression from some of the conversations or comments that I've heard, or maybe the looks on people's faces, that sometimes this is very difficult to accept. Fairly recently, I've been kind of contemplating and developing an understanding that I've come to call Majestic Being. If I can kind of look back and see where this may have come from, I'm thinking the early seeds of it began when I was contemplating our temple's version of the Four Great Vows. I don't know if you have a version of that yourselves that you kind of work with from time to time, but when I first came across it at our temple, it was intriguing but perplexing. And so I'm going to read our version of the Four Great Vows to you right now. The Four Great Vows. All beings, one body, I vow to liberate. Endless blind passions, I vow to uproot. Dharma gates without number, I vow to penetrate. The great way of Buddha, I vow to attain. So for me, one of the interesting aspects of this practice of ours, Buddhism, is how I seem to come across these paradoxes. This chant that I just recited for you was and continues to be one of these paradoxes. In reading them, it kind of seems like it's impossible. How can anybody complete those four vows, accomplish them? But as I kind of was working with that, slowly this kind of understanding began to arise within my mind that when I take care of my life by practicing this middle way, sitting zazen, when I take care of my life in this direct manner, I am also taking care of everyone in my life and all the things that I need to manage in my life. Now, expanding on that a bit further, I'm beginning to also understand that with this practice of ours, living the middle way, practicing Zazen, not only am I taking care of all the people in my life and the responsibilities and events in my life, I'm also taking care of the entire world and all the people and all the events just by simply taking care of my own life in this authentic manner that you and I are following. These vows, they seem unreachable. But when we look a little bit deeper beneath the surface, we begin to understand that the potential to achieve these lies nowhere else but right here, right now, in this present moment, and in our life as it unfolds, our ordinary daily life as it unfolds. Simply said, we accomplish this when we begin the journey, when we stay on the path. In these two, the destination is already attained. A short while ago, I wrote a submission for our newsletter, Still Point Zen Buddhist Temple, and I'd like to read it to you. Majestic Being, returning to the home we never left. I wish to share some insights on two words I have placed together to hopefully express my understanding of the aim of our Zen Buddhist practice as it relates to sitting Zazen and ordinary daily living. As winter transitions into spring, we might consider this shift as moving away from hibernation or sleep to stepping into blooming or awakening. Many times when I share in Dharma talks that when we practice living Zazen, we may gain deep insight and see clearly that what we sought on our spiritual journey or investigation is right here now and has always been so. People seem to struggle to accept this. I believe that people can mistakenly believe that our Buddhist practices, including silent meditation, are supposed to lead us into some sort of ecstatic state where we are bathed in a flash of thunder and lightning, and all of our life's difficulties melt away, never to return. A person can fall into the false notion that I am asleep and someday I will awaken in a kind of linear progression from the past and into the future. Like imagining what mysterious wonders lie on the other side of a glimmering, distant horizon. Perhaps another way of viewing progress along our spiritual path in Buddhism is to realize that in this very moment, we lack nothing to live our lives as awakened persons. Hence my use of the term majestic being. The term hints at what is immediately accessible and deeply profound as my definition for the combination of the two words. When we allow ourselves to live our daily lives within the 10,000 joys and 10,000 sorrows as they arrive and depart, we are much more able to lean into this quality that each of us inherently possesses as our human birthright. No one can take this from us, but we must cultivate it like a vegetable garden in order to be nourished by its radiant essence. With sincere Zazen practice, humility, gratitude, authentic zeal, innocent curiosity, and self-compassion, we can discover majestic being in our everyday life, here and now. Where else could it be? I can remember my teacher, our guiding teacher, Koho, here at Still Point Zen Buddhist Temple, saying with his hands in gasho, kind of like a koan almost, "What is this?" is what he used to say, or does say occasionally. I have adjusted the statement to "what is this?" before even a single word is spoken, as my own personal mantra for returning to this present moment-to-moment experience beyond habitual judgment. This is our practice, returning to just this. Perhaps instead of seeing our everyday human situations as obstacles to awakening, with transparent acceptance and deep penetration, we can more clearly understand directly and for ourselves that this very life is our teacher and our destination. Plainly said, we have already arrived. This does not mean that we cannot glimpse the depth of human existence from externals. But without the inner journey and recognition of our own heart-mind nexus within this very body, it may be very difficult to let go of the fictional separation of the two, the inner and the external. However, when we allow ourselves to rest in majestic being, there is neither separation nor union. There has always only been ineffable oneness, which is timeless. And here we rest in this timelessness. We lay our burden down and directly perceive vastness. We return home. Maintaining a strict confidence in this understanding may wax and wane. But once the foundation is uncovered, we have a home base to return to as needed. The ability to navigate this return is strengthened and energized by our practice of Zazen, and allows us to carry that which is cultivated on the meditation cushion forward into our everyday life. Washing the dishes, taking out the trash, walking by a river, feeding the cats, paying for groceries, starting our car, picking up the mail, washing our faces. The list of daily activities may be endless, but so too is our practice of sitting still within the dragon's roar of silence. I invite you to return home, to settle into and rest in your own majestic being. So that was my submission that I gave to our newsletter. And now, if you don't mind, I would like to close by reading from the book that we've been studying. I don't know if you can see it or not. This year's reading or text or book for our 9-month One Sangha program that we have at the temple. It says here at the bottom, a translation of Dogen's Bendowa with commentary by Kosho Uchiyama Roshi. So within the book, Dogen kind of presents questions that perhaps somebody who's trying to learn more about Buddhism and practicing Zazen, and then he answers them. I'm just going to read the question, and then I'm going to give this author's commentary on that question to close. The question reads, question 13, can this practice be carried out also by male and female lay people? Or can it only be practiced by monks? And the response by Kosho Uchiyama Roshi is, quote, I repeat that the starting point of Buddhism is searching after the truth of the life of oneself. Since it is the truth of the life of each self, it is only natural not to distinguish old from young, men from women, or noble birth from humble birth. Buddhism lies behind our practice of Zazen. Behind Buddhism, there should be one's own life. It is essential to see Buddhism from the ground of our own lives and to examine our Zazen on the basis of Buddhism. In doing so, it is very apparent that the idea that we can attain some special satori, like a superpower, is off the mark. End of quote. So I want to thank you very much for giving me a bit of your time and for listening, for being here as we practice this morning or early afternoon. As I said, it's always a pleasure to spend this time like this with you. And I'll turn it over to Choa.